Welcome to On the Firing Line on the information station, AM 1440 KUHL. Information, education, news, and politics of firearms and ammunition is found here. If you have any questions, call us at 1-888-625-1440. That's 1-888-625-1440.
A South American woman has died in apparent accidental shooting at a northeast Missouri gun range. The Rawls County Sheriff's Department says the shooting happened Sunday at the Salt River Gun Range near New London. Authorities say 25-year-old Andrea Janeth Corredor Rivera of Colombia died at the scene. Corredor Rivera died of a single self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Rawls County Sheriff Gary Dinwiddie tells WGEM TV that the woman was shooting a .500 caliber Smith & Wesson handgun when the strength of the gun's recoil caused her to lose control. She was visiting the family in the area, the sheriff said. The gun spun in her hand, leading to a second fatal shot. No charges are expected in the case.
Wow. You are on the firing line with Joe, Matt, and Kanani. Be a part of today's show by calling 1-888-625-1440, or if you're in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440. You know, I mean, this kind of goes right along with a lot of stuff that's been happening in the news this last week. You know, stuff happens. This is tragic. This one happened a little while ago, I think.
Yeah, it did. I think in 2012.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I do recall kind of hearing about it. You know, I mean, it all kind of goes back to handgun safety, ultimately, you know.
It does go back to handgun safety. It also goes back to the amount of knowledge somebody has for a firearm. Should they be handling one such firearm? I hate the fact that people will give a large caliber gun like this to somebody who's never shot just to get a laugh and see him lose control of the firearm.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes no sense.
Right. I mean, it's just like, I mean, most of you have probably seen it on YouTube. You know, the girl has the big gun, shoots it, and it comes up and whaps her right in the forehead or something. And then everybody laughs at her.
It's like they're intentionally trying to hurt somebody.
So, I mean, basically the same thing happened with this gun. It had a little shorter barrel, so instead of hitting her in the face, she accidentally cranked the trigger as it was moving up, and that was that.
And this is the kind of stuff that Bloomberg uses for his statistics to point out that why we should not have firearms.
Right, because that definitely would be, he'd put that in as gun violence. You know, I mean, where it's an accident, it wasn't really gun violence, I don't think.
I don't get it. I know I've had a 500 myself, and it was hard to control.
Yeah, we've
really
all shot
was.
it. Oh, yeah, it's a heck of a gun.
Fortunately, I have a little bit of experience.
You have a little more than a little bit of experience.
He's got a little bit.
But, you know, you just don't do that. That's like I see people all the time loading hot rounds in a shotgun for somebody as well.
Right.
It's the same thing. That's not proper etiquette for a
It's
firearm.
dangerous. It's dangerous, you know. I mean, you know, just like you're saying, it's uncool to do. It's not a funny joke, you know. People get hurt, obviously, as we see here.
I had a friend of mine that's a doctor in town that had come into the shop at one point and said, you know, over the weekend I went shooting with some friends, some other doctors that I know, and she goes, this one guy just said, I had to shoot this 500 Smith & Wesson. It was the same type of gun. And, of course, she bumped herself right in the head. And, you know, I told her, hey, that guy is a true a-hole because that is not proper to do to somebody. It's just not right.
No.
And you know that they're doing it maliciously. This is the kind of stuff that...
It gives all gun owners a bad
It
rap.
does.
Right. It
Kind of smudges us all in
kind of like
thinking.
falls back to the redneck thing or something.
Yeah.
And here they are, they're intellectuals, or at least they're well-educated people. We all know that doctors are well-educated, and here they're doing these kind of things.
Yeah, no.
It's disrespectful and disgraceful. Very, very sad.
Right.
And in this case, this person didn't just get bumped in the head. The recoil of the gun, which when forcing the muzzle upwards, pushes the trigger and the finger together, which is going to cause the gun to go off again. And as we get into today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about, you know, children with firearms. And I think that very same scenario plays in part with that as well.
Yeah.
It's a tragic thing all the way around.
All right. So which one are we gonna hit on first?
Well, I think today we're going to be talking about, Well, we want to recap a little bit on what last week's show was, and that was the armament of our police departments in a military style and using military tactics, which I think we kind of got clear that it's not necessarily military tactics because they have to do things that are quite differently. I mean, they're responsible for every round, and their mission objectives or objectives are completely different than what military is. So it's going to be interesting to kind of bring some of that up again. We also have an article that is from our own Santa Maria Police Department on that, and it kind of shows light of how the media writes their reports too, because I don't get it. The media sticks their nose in everything and just.
Yeah, that's why they're the media.
Yeah, no kidding. That particular one, when I saw the headline, I thought, that's really weird. And then when I watched it, it was almost the complete opposite.
Yes.
It's like they had completely skewed what your first impression of what this was
what,
supposed to be
what
about.
makes money? Is that news?
Yeah. What will get their clicks and what will get people to read their articles.
Even though it's crud.
It's the opening sentence.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's got to be a good one.
All right. One thing before we do take a commercial break so that we can get back to all this stuff, I do want to say that narrowly or just by tie, SB 53 has failed to pass. There will be no registration of ammunition. There will be no thumbprints for purchase of ammunition.
Woohoo.
There will be no ban of buying ammunition on the internet. It failed.
Yeah, so we're good to go. Nothing is changing for the worst yet. And
Thank God. I wonder what De Leon is thinking today. He's got to be sitting there in his room.
Give me a
It's either
scotch.
that or he really doesn't care. He knows that it was a flop bill, and he'll come up with another way of, of doing something or go after something else.
Quote me. He'll be back with this exact same thing with a different number on it.
Oh, yeah.
Although
It's
Jim,
maybe a little bit of a spin to it.
I think, Jim, you pointed out that he's going to be up for revote, right? So
yeah, he's up for re-election, I believe, this year.
So wondering if his constituents see him in the light that he fails to get bills across. He fails to get bills.
That's a good point.
Into law because they're found unconstitutional. Yeah. If they will have the sense to vote him out.
And that's
it doesn't seem like, I don't know about you guys, but to me it seems like they're not on the offense like they used to be. Did you see the last election with even Representative Capps with Maldonado? They really were. It's almost like they're living in a vacuum or something. The real things that are happening, they're not saying. It's weird.
They believe the people spoke in what their ideals are, and they're so disconnected from the people that now they're even disconnected from what's going on around us to be able to make a
seem
connection.
like that? Is it just me, or does it seem like that to everybody?
No, it has definitely got a little something shady going on.
We were all cracking up though about the primary, in June,
right?
When Leland Yee, who was just arrested,
180,000 votes.
280.
Oh, I'm sorry, 280.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. That just But anyhow,
and there was another Democrat on the list. So they could have voted Democrat and still not voted for him.
I know.
Where
are they living?
When you roll the dice, you don't know what it's going to land on. That's all they did. And there was two.
Let's see. Today's vote.
They were probably like, darn it, there's only two D's to choose from. Well, Leland Yee, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. You're wondering though, I don't
affirmative action. It's Yee. Hey.
that was it.
What they say just recently? They said 1/3. No, it's 100. Excuse me. It's 103 million Americans are collecting some type of assistance.
Saw that. Yes,
from the government.
Man. That's
103 million.
Wasn't it 52 or 53% of America is receiving some sort of subsidiary?
What is that? We got maybe
that called?
I don't know. Is it 350 million Americans? 350, right?
Then there's people like us who do not make over a certain amount of money, and we're not asking for help. We're taking care of ourselves.
Yeah, you get by.
I think that's the thing that when we were young, I don't know, I'm a little bit older than you guys, probably a couple of days or years.
Yeah, don't kid yourself. You're a lot older. He walks around geriatrics with his little stroller.
No, I'm serious. But, when I was a kid, you didn't need a work permit or nothing. I started working at 15, collecting a regular paycheck, just,
Dude, I was mowing lawns, going to my neighbor's houses.
Same thing,
ranking,
that was
doing
part
all
of,
kinds of stuff.
That was part of growing up.
There's no
you go get work and you go get paid, and that's it.
Yeah, if you want to if you want that toy, go
You
figure
go
out a way to
figure out a way to
make
make
money.
some
That's the way
money.
it
And then once you
Yes.
make the money, maybe I'll drive you down there.
I tell my kids now, hey, I'll give you $20 if you go out and mow the lawn, which is what, maybe a half an hour's worth of work? So
Maybe.
that's not enough.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I'll mow your
not
lawn
I'm
for
surprised.
20
Yeah, me too. I was thinking, can I get my lawnmower?
That's pretty dang good.
Or even $10. Either way, it's still $10 and a half an hour equals
Mine was-
$20 an hour.
mine
Which
was
is
50
dang
cents.
good.
Yeah.
We mowed lawns for 50 cents. We thought that was big.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But if you pay somebody minimum wage, and it's going to be $15 is what they want for California now, is a $15 minimum wage.
Don't-
Why would they get off minimum wage? I mean, it's like, where's the incentive to move up the ladder?
I know that
You got
it doesn't set the bar.
Obamacare, and then you're $15. Hey,
I'm good.
I got a 6-pack of beer in my pickup running. I don't care anymore.
Where's the incentive in that?
There's nothing.
No, I
There's no
agree.
incentive. There's no incentive to grow.
It's to keep you there as a slave.
I think it was like $6 when
basically-
I started working.
Wow.
Mine
We
was
have gotten
Yeah, like
Believe it or not, mine-
575.
Yeah, no
I think.
kidding.
Believe it or not,
525.
minimum wage was $1.35 when I started working.
Whoa, although in the 1800s
And how much was
they paid
gas
that
per
much?
gallon?
Well, we could get it down here at the
Oh,
very end
man.
of it was called Terrible Herbs. Now, believe it or not, it was 28 cents.
No,
Yeah,
that's
he
it.
doesn't believe me.
We're going to commercial.
All right, when we come back, we're
See what
definitely
happens when I open the microphone?
But it was fun. We'll be right back with you on the firing line.
You're listening to On the Firing Line on the information station.
This is On the Firing Line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. We will be right back with you on the firing line. If you have any questions, give us a call at 888-625-1440 or in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440. Don't forget, you can always listen in on am1440.com.
Tactical Guns and Gear is the Central Coast leader in tactical rifles, pistols, shotguns, and accessories. Building an AR-15, they have lower receivers, parts kits, trigger groups, and a ton of other AR parts from the most popular companies and stuff.
They are also the home of the Women's 101 Firearms and Women's Advanced Pistol classes and have trained thousands of local
The
ladies.
store is located off the 101 freeway in Santa Maria near the North Broadway exit. Look for the big rifle sign on the freeway as well as the giant 5-ton Tactical military truck, and they're now open on Mondays. America!
On the Firing Line is happy to have Law Offices of Christopher Coleman as a sponsor. The Law Offices of Christopher Coleman is located in Santa Barbara on 2019B State Street, specializing in personal injury and, more importantly, the Second Amendment and On the Firing Line with Matt and Joe. Give them a call at 805-682-3352, serving the Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, and San Luis Obispo areas for over 25 years.
Have you been looking for a new or used motorcycle or all-terrain vehicle?
With a staff that has a combined 270 years of experience to inspire and help you make that informed decision.
Santa Maria Motorcycles is your one-stop shop, and their mission is to provide you with that ultimate experience.
They also have rentals, so you can take that ride you have been dreaming of up the coast.
They're located at 2022 Presker Lane in Santa Maria, or give Chris and his team a call at 805-928-3668. Again, that's 805-928-3668.
We're happy to have a special guest here today at the Plumbing Talk Studios, Jeremy Griffin, owner of Griffin Plumbing in Orcutt. Welcome, Jeremy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Jeremy, the reason your plumbing company is called Griffin Plumbing is that your last name is, in fact, Griffin.
Yeah, that's right.
Unbelievable! Griffin, just like the legendary creature with the body of a lion and the wings of an eagle.
Yeah.
What a brilliant move, Jeremy.
I'm a genius.
To name your plumbing company after this majestic creature. A creature known not only to have divine power, but also to be a protector from all things evil.
Well, it is my last name.
Audience, listen carefully. If your plumbing devices are threatened in any way, I implore you to seek the power and protection of the Griffin.
We're always here to help. Just give us a call.
Call the Griffin.
Find us at callgriffinplumbing.com or call 934-1949.
You are on the firing line with Joe, Matt, and Kanani.
That's right. You are back on the firing line. All right.
Well put.
Yes, I've been studying that word, studying the sentence for, 3 years, 2 years now.
Jiminy.
Jiminy. Well, anyway, if you want to give us a jingle, 1-888-625-1440, or if you're in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440.
And don't forget, you can always look us up on Facebook to get an idea what's going on. We like people to go onto Facebook, like the page, take a look at the articles that we post up, make comments, because we like your feedback to know what direction we need to go in. Yep. And if you identify with our morals or our ideals, that's fantastic. If you don't, that's well too, because that gives us more to think about for discussion on the show. So please, on the firing line with Joe, Matt, and Kanani. And
Jim, I got morals.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure.
They're loose, but he's got them.
Everybody knows that.
Today's comedy show, we will be presenting.
But it's cool you said our morals. I'm like, okay.
Okay, yeah, we got morals.
I got morals.
Oh, man, don't even do it.
Okay.
Get Demeter in here.
All right. Where is Demeter, dude?
Dude, Russia's all crazy now. I don't know. I can't even get a hold of him.
You think he's got a gun now?
Well, he did say he had one, and he just didn't have it at his house. So.
Right. I think he had it hidden.
Yeah.
But he had large pieces of property, too, didn't he?
Yeah, no, he's a pretty lucky guy. Hopefully he's doing all right. Hopefully, I'll give him a call this week. Maybe we'll get him in. We'll get a call, maybe.
That would be fantastic.
Excellent.
That would be fantastic.
All right.
All right. Militarization of our police departments.
Yay or nay?
Yeah. Yay or nay? What do you say?
Nay.
Nay, why?
You know what? It just brings more fright to those who, cops are cops. They're going to do their job. They're either going to do it well or they're not going to do it well. But I don't think you need to go over. They got SWAT and stuff like that. I think that's enough.
That's militarization of our police, though, isn't it?
But that's enough.
SWAT team, good to go. But when you start stepping it up above that,
what makes them? What makes a SWAT team militarized?
Because that's what they are.
What, special weapons?
Yeah, they're specialized. What's it called? SWAT is called
special weapons and tactics.
Yeah, there. Thank you very much. Special weapons, right?
Okay, so if you bring SWAT out for certain things, or bring them out for riots and stuff like that, and they see that out in the public, don't they say the police are militarized?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
And how many police officers do we see getting out of their cars with their ARs?
I don't know. I haven't been to a riot lately. So.
Well, I mean, just on a regular routine stop.
Never.
Well,
so why do we call them militarized?
No, I thought you meant like, they're like SWAT.
Why should police be militarized or not?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it puts the fear of God in those.
That's what I'm saying. Doesn't it put too much fear into us?
No, but there's
what happens to the cop on the beat kind of thing?
Well, that's the cop on the beat thing is too much of that's a wish, dude.
Oh,
that's a long gone thing. I mean, that's a thing of the past. It'd be nice if that could happen, but the criminals these days,
they drive cars now. They don't walk the beat.
They'll beat the out of the cop on the beat. Unfortunately,
you're absolutely right. That's
why we need to have a bigger deterrent and have the ability to have an escalation of force when that does happen.
Here's another thing. With the looming threat of terrorists coming across the border from Mexico, how would our police department defend against these terrorists without weapons to match?
I really haven't given it that much thought, to be honest with you. I always thought that SWAT was the overkill kind of a thing. If you can't take care of a situation, bring these guys in.
Right. And
when I grew up in Buffalo, New York, as a small boy, there was cops on the beat. I mean, they walked around with the billy club, and they didn't even carry guns, some of them.
Right.
I guess that's all gone now. I mean, it's just
that's a thing of the past.
Yeah, it's fairy tale now. But
it's utopian to wish for that. Is
community policing ever going to come back?
Well, I think there is community policing, but it's not the same as it used to be.
Yeah.
Because they have more territory to cover. The population is far more dense than it was even 25 years ago. So it's just a changing thing. It's the byproduct.
I think we still do have a connection, because even though police officers change their beats, or let me rephrase that, even though the beats of police officers are changed periodically, they still get a connection to the community, because they are stopping in businesses, eating there. When there's emergencies to come in, like if you get a call at the 7-Eleven, you're going to stop by the 7-Eleven and probably be a patron and buy things and have a communication with the people inside. That's just naturally going to happen. Mm-hmm. So there is community policing in that sense. Yes, it's changed because now they're inside of vehicles, and the vehicle is their office, more to say.
Totally. Yeah.
But there's also other programs out there that allow for the community and the police to work together. And we see that, I think, happening a lot. It's not as big in the news. The news doesn't think that that's as important to show, so we don't hear about it as much anymore.
Well, what I was thinking about when you were talking, I was thinking the difference is from Los Angeles to San Francisco. Okay, Los Angeles is more of a spread out kind of
Sprawl.
Yeah, I was going to say something else, but yeah, that's a good word. Where the density of population isn't just in one area. Like in San Francisco, the density of population can be in a few blocks. You can have 10,000 people in a short.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of community policing still in San Francisco. They still walk the
That-
beat.
yeah,
They
that's a good
still
point.
do some things.
I mean,
I think that's what I'm kind of thinking about. I thought, I was thinking as you were talking, yeah, in some areas. Now, I'll tell you the truth. I got out of a car one time. I got lost on the 10. Now, I was consuming some adult beverages at the time, so shouldn't have been driving, really. But the fact was, I had pulled over to the wrong place. And I went into a small little shop and was going to ask, hey, how do I get back onto the 10 now? I want to get back out to the airport. The guy literally looked at me and goes, get out of here now.
Yeah.
Don't stay here now. Get out right now. And I thought he flipped out. He said, get out now. So I left. Sure enough, here comes a gang of kids down the street. Boy, I couldn't get that car fired up and take it off. And my brother was with me. He didn't know anything about it. But I understand now what you're trying to say. It's like, yeah, in some communities, it's a scary place. Others, they
Not so good.
Yeah.
Even in Los Angeles, though, it is pretty condensed. Yeah, you're right. It may not be as condensed as San Francisco, but I think the greater Los Angeles area has many more areas, many more cities.
Yeah.
And usually you can drive within 10 miles to the next police department.
Yeah, that's pretty far, right.
Is it far? That, to me, doesn't seem very far.
Well, in San Francisco, there's a lot of precincts, but they have the main jail and the main place on Bryant Street. But they have high rises too, with 15 or 20 story high rises that people live in.
And the difference there too is in Los Angeles, there are individual cities. Yes, they are in the county or under the Los Angeles County.
Right, but there's dozens
police
of
departments.
sub-cities.
You have Burbank, Glendale. You go to Van Nuys, and you have these different police departments that are, operating on their own.
Yeah,
although I think Van Nuys is still under Los Angeles, and Glendale may be as well. But I know Burbank is completely separate.
Right.
I mean, there's
Pasadena
a number of
separate,
different.
Burbank, all that east, southeast.
And this is because I've grown up there and I remember how the police work. And when you have those small kind of areas, the beats are going to be smaller, just like you said, because of San Francisco kind of ideology there. And they are going to have some connections, more connections, because they're going to recognize the kid that, hey, I pulled over 2 months ago. I remember him because he was a nuisance, and I've got my eye out for him. And those kind of things. So,
right. Well, yeah,
but
the criminal element is usually about 5 to 7% of the population.
Right.
They see the same people.
But back to the militarization.
Yeah.
Okay, should police departments have special weapons? Should they have ARs that go fully automatic in the trunks of their cars? Should they have MRAPs or vehicles that transport or tracked vehicles to be able to go out and do different tasks that before weren't needed? Most of us grew up with the idea that, hey, what do we need those things for? That's just crazy.
Well, I'll put it plain and simple. I think anybody who wants to have any of those things, if you have the money, you should be able to have it. Police,
yeah,
citizen.
but then they keep asking for more money too, though. That's one of the points I was thinking about in my head. Is that does it? I'm all for protecting the people. I really am, and no matter what needs to be done, I don't really care for too much of what they do, but I want to be protected. Totally protected from criminal element.
And that's my point, is you want to be protected from the criminal element. I probably just cut somebody off, but here's the thing.
Connie hasn't talked at all because I'm talking today. What is happening?
If we don't have the weapons that we need to be able to respond to certain situations, you can guarantee the public will be up in an uproar.
Yeah.
Right now,
I agree with that too.
We don't want them to have this because look what happened. Put your hands up in the air, everybody. Hey.
Yeah. And then as soon as something really bad happens, it's either going to be thank God or why didn't you?
Right.
Yeah, there's no good side to anything right now.
Well,
when
no,
things
of course
like that
not.
happen.
Well,
I mean,
it's not like it's not a good thing when anytime SWAT has to go out on a call, because it's always something bad. So if it's worse than that and it requires more, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Exactly.
Sorry.
It's a great thing. Tell the criminals as you pull them over. Yeah, you want to play stupid games? Here's your prize today.
Did you see the one?
Do not pass go.
Did you see the one where the guy beat that woman?
Yeah, on the shoulder. Yeah,
that was pretty bad.
Yeah, he got her pretty good. But
And then right in front of her little girl, right in front of his little girl too.
no, he's suspended now, and it's pending.
No, not the cop. The woman. Did you see the one where the woman cop was beat by the guys? He had to be 6'2".
These things happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he said, and he's a parolee, and he said, you can hear him saying, "I'm sorry, darling, I'm not going to prison." So you beat up the cop.
I think I remember that.
That's
one,
crazy. And this woman couldn't defend herself. I mean, she was probably 5'7".
Well, she could. She had a gun.
She did have a gun, right? But
she
this guy
chose
just
not
turned
to.
around and bam.
Huh?
So yeah, I see on that part there should have been two people. You know what I'm saying? You should never have that happen.
You know, it's a hard thing to be able to take your people, utilize them for what they are good for. That's what a good commander does. All right, so some people should be in some situations, some people should not be in other situations. Again, that comes to the same thing with militarized weapons. Each weapon series, there's a place and a purpose for it. In today's times, I'll tell you what, even in our Santa Maria area, there have been raids that have come up with fully automatic AKs.
More than one.
Yes, we don't necessarily always hear about them, and sometimes we do. But can you imagine our police responding to a house where a hail of gunfire is coming out of windows and we can't respond? All we have to do is step back.
Well, there's plenty of documented things you could look back. I mean, you'll find hundreds of them where the police had 38 revolvers. And, you know, I mean, look at Miami when they were shooting at them with Uzis and AKs and they had 38 revolvers.
Right.
And that's happened 100 times, unfortunately. So that right there is proof enough that you need to have the superior firepower. That's what.
Now, what kills me is that here we have the media has stepped up and said, "Oh my God, militarization of police, militarization of police." It's like I said, it's a made-up word for things.
Well, it's just like gun violence, dude.
Right, exactly. And then we have Obama sending out, "Oh, we need to go and take a look and audit these places, see what they're doing with these weapons and stuff like that," without having all the facts.
Well, that's how they roll.
Are you talking about Ferguson? Is that what you're talking about? Where they
Yes.
said, that was crazy. What are you going to do with these people? These people were crazy. They didn't have enough there, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know where they got that from. That's crazy.
The media has nothing better to do now that they know that they can't really go after the gun people so much. They're going to go after the police.
Yeah, that's stupid. But they would do that. They do that. Go ahead, Kanani.
You guys are just going.
She's listening and thinking, so what do you catch out of all this? How do you feel about all this?
I mean, I think it depends on what you're really asking. Are you asking about whether or not police should run around in camo and MRAPs and do house calls to see how Johnny's feeling at, their neighborhood, what have you? Or are you asking, should they have an appropriate amount of force to deal with
any situation that arises.
Any situation that arises, whether it's really violent or not so violent, and be able to have the discretion to do what needs to be done?
I think that in that I'm asking if the police should have the ability to deal force on force with any situation that they come up across and be able to deal with it in a superior way.
Absolutely. Then.
Do I think that they should be walking around in camo and checking on Johnny and going door to door to make sure everything's okay in the house without any proper warrants or anything
throwing smoke grenades inside the house? Like, hey, is everybody okay?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But I don't see that our police are trying to go that direction.
No.
So the
I don't think so.
conversation is realistically about what's happening today.
Right.
And we don't see the police going around doing that. We see the police using weapons for special purposes.
Right.
It's true.
And I think there's a really different perspective between where you're coming from, Jim, that you're a law-abiding citizen, that you have a positive outlook on police. I'm making these assumptions kind of, but you see it from a very community response type of interaction with your law enforcement, and then there's those who are in the criminals who are not in a positive.
Well, yeah, I didn't know you were talking about the Ferguson. See, that was there was so much. Like, the best description I heard about Ferguson was people put on their uniforms. In other words, what team am I on? So whatever team you were on, that's the one you went for.
It was the cool thing to do at the moment.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It was popular.
You're right, and it was irrational. It's not. That's not a rational thing to do, especially when it's that serious.
Right.
And to call people, and I heard that, the militarization. I thought to myself, what are you talking about?
Right.
These people are throwing rocks. No, they're shooting at them.
Yeah. What do you expect?
So what are you gonna do? I mean,
what do you expect them to do?
I didn't know you were talking about that because that's crazy. That was just. You know what? I gave up watching the news during that time.
We added that into the mix of everything we were talking
because
about.
It really kind of sparked the debate between whether or not they should or shouldn't. Before then, I don't think anybody was really thinking about about what our police department had as far as military equipment, because it was just sort of happening and nobody was really,
just kind of behind the
concerned
scenes.
about it,
In my
right? And it
opinion,
didn't make a difference. Didn't
they
make a
didn't
difference to
have enough.
me.
And then the
You were
word
a
came.
tin
Right.
for a hot wearer if you did talk about it, basically.
But they didn't have enough. When I told you last week that the businesses had to defend themselves.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Right?
How many times have we seen the business have to defend themselves?
But why
Again,
shouldn't a
we've seen
business
it
have to
dozens of
defend
times.
themselves, though? I mean, that's their
shouldn't.
responsibility
Why
too.
shouldn't?
Well,
I mean,
they-
can't they?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
should.
they
You're
should.
right.
They
You're
have a
absolutely
right.
right.
I agree
So-
with that.
Well, they have to defend themselves till the police get there.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean,
So, yeah,
there's
so
room
for-
for everything. There's room for you to
So
defend
So
yourself.
where's the argument
And if
that they're militarization when the very people who are trying to defend what they worked hard for, who are just bystanders,
Right.
right? They have to protect what they got. Because
Yeah.
the police could not do it. So how are you going to say militarization when they didn't even have enough to cover?
That's right. And these people that say militarization, here's another thing. There are neighborhoods in Los Angeles that police do not drive into.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
Cul-de-sacs. Yeah, there's
Why?
cul-de-sacs.
Why
they
is
won't
that?
go.
Because they're outgunned, they're
Outgunned.
outmanned.
And
They
they
do
know it.
not want to take the chance
Yeah.
of losing their life.
Those guys shoot
So-
at cars for fun.
Right. Where's the lawlessness? Where's the law there?
That's a
They
good
need to
point.
be able to go there, so they have to be able to have these militarized weapons.
I mean, that's a perfect reason why they should.
That's
Exactly.
That's where you see, like, the Bearcats and the armored vehicles. That's where you see those come into play and go, okay, so they do need them once in a
Now
while.
it makes sense.
It's not like
Right.
it's not like they're serving the warrant for the guy who has 8 traffic tickets or whatever the heck it is.
And
They're doing that usually because they know there's guns in the house, drugs in
Right.
the house. It's something fairly major, if not
Yeah.
major.
If there's a warrant to go into your house, there's usually a reason why. That's why we live in America.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Amen.
Of course, give it much longer, and we might lose
They might.
the first,
Right.
the second, the fourth, the 14th.
And then it'll be, in left hand will be the hammer, right hand will be a sickle.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I didn't know you were going that direction. I was wondering because that kind of stuff, and I heard somebody say that they put on their uniforms was the perfect description for me.
Yeah.
Because whatever team you were rooting for,
Yeah.
that's the one you went for. If you were rooting for the cops, you went for the cops, or the people, or this young man Brown, or the cop, whatever. Instead of just what a horrible, horrible thing to go through for no reason whatsoever. I'll
But
tell you one
that's,
thing: don't shoot anybody. You might as well just die yourself.
Well,
You'd be
but
better
but they
off.
don't think like that,
That's
No,
what
they're
the
not
media
native.
would
I'm
like
pretty
us
sure
to
their
believe.
family and their wives
Exactly.
don't think
That's
that
what-
either.
What? Go
I'm
ahead,
sure
Karen.
the wives and the families of those officers don't think that either.
No.
No kidding.
They're like,
No, they'll lose their husband and their father. No, but the thing is, that's what they're saying to you, aren't they?
yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
have we
essentially.
have we seen anything from the grand jury yet on this?
Negative.
Not yet. I haven't kept up enough with it because, like you, I'm disgusted with what's going on there.
Yeah, right.
I'm disgusted with the way our chief and commander has stepped in once more without
Why?
having the facts.
Why?
Exactly. And then here's another thing. Yes, our police get military stuff. How do they get it? They're on loan from the military.
Yeah, military
it doesn't
contract.
cost the police departments that much more to get this stuff.
Right,
It's not part of the budget.
Yeah, the citizens
it's a loan
aren't losing
situation.
money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous to even put it into that light. And yes, police departments have to hold the extra amount of money that they can get by keeping to spending the whole budget because
Right.
if they don't, they're not going to have the money next year when the population grows even more, when they're already outmanned.
Yeah, well, that's stay ahead of the curve. Let's just put it that way. I mean, because
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Because again, I'm going to say we've seen it in the past when we started falling behind that curve. All of a sudden, there's some crazy, mass murder, and then that forces everybody to step up the tempo.
Yep.
And then 9/11 happens. We step up the tempo,
Right.
and so on and so forth.
But let
Yeah,
me
we
ask
don't
you a
want to be
question. I
falling
wanna ask-
behind in that
I want
fight.
to ask Joe a question. If you were the president of the United States,
Uh-oh.
you are,
Uh-oh.
right? Ferguson's going on. How would have handled it as the president?
First, I would have gone and talked to the mayor and seen exactly what he needed from us. I would have also liked to have waited long enough to let the mayor and the police department to decide what they needed to do. And maybe and I'm not going to go on the news and talk about anything.
Exactly.
My first job is to respond to the people who need help. And that at that point would be law enforcement to keep civil order.
Well, yeah, but if you're the president, your first job is to get votes.
That's
No,
true, but
that's
you could
not
easily
true.
say this.
That's a coward's president.
No, I agree. I'm not saying that's the right thing.
Uh-oh.
But
Bing.
Okay, if I was President Obama, you're right. My first shot would be to get votes.
He said it.
Yes.
Champion of the world.
It's true. You should say something this simple. Listen, we're here to help, but that's a situation that's going on there. I have situations with ISIS and other things that I'm worried about, but we are monitoring the situation, and that's it.
Right.
If they need our help, they know we'll be available to them. And shut up.
Right.
Yeah, get there.
Believe it or not, well, no, I'm not even going to go there because people would hate me for that. But let's go back to the militarization of police departments.
Nobody hates you.
Let's go back.
We all love you, Joe.
Yeah, well, once I told the media they couldn't be there, they'd hate me.
Please don't.
Because the media is not about free speech. It's about selling the quick dollar.
Exactly, we know
and
that.
I'm sick and tired of that. It's either that or I would say, okay, media, if you're going to be there, great. Spew whatever you want, but be held accountable for whatever you do.
That's it right there. Accountability.
Yes, if you cause and incite, I'm going to, as the president, want to have McCarthyism back against you.
Holy moly!
So you are here to incite the public to elevate to a point of civil unrest. Guess what? You're going to have to pay for that.
Yeah, pay the piper.
And after a while, they're going to go out of business because I'm going to be the news and they're not.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Truth
There you go.
That was heavy.
We need to take a break.
That was a truth
Joe,
spear.
we need to take a break.
All right, let's take a break. Let's break it off.
All right,
Wait a second.
before we take a break. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Before we take a break, I want you to think about this with the militarization of police, okay?
Right.
Imagine this. We have young men who are parts of gangs,
This is the truth.
okay, that go into our military and they learn military tactics.
Yeah,
That's
was on my list.
100% true. I
They
have
come
first-hand
back
experience with
and
that.
they take these tactics and they use them and teach their other gang members how to use these tactics. And then they acquire weapons illegally from the black market.
And they're the same weapons they were trained on.
Exactly. And supply them to their gang members. Should our police not have the weapons to be able to defend themselves with this? Or
Hell no, they
take
totally
a
should.
proactive situation or proactive movement and deal with the situation? I mean, the news has really got to sit down and think this whole thing out and stop playing the game of money and play the game of news because they are supposed to be a communication for all of us to find out what's going on. And on that thought, we'll be right back with you on the firing line.
We'll be back to more of On the Firing Line with Joe and Jim after this.
This is On the Firing Line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. We'll be right back with you on the firing line. If you have any questions, give us a call at 888-625-1440 or in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440. Don't forget, you can always listen in on am1440.com.
Tactical Guns and Gear is the Central Coast leader in tactical rifles, pistols, shotguns, and accessories. Building an AR-15, they have lower receivers, parts kits, trigger groups, and a ton of other AR parts from the most popular companies and stuff.
They are also the home of the Women's 101 Firearms and Women's Advanced Pistol Classes and have trained thousands of local ladies.
The store is located off the 101 freeway in Santa Maria near the North Broadway exit. Look for the big rifle sign on the freeway as well as the giant 5-ton Tactical military truck, and they're now open on Mondays. America!
On the Firing Line is happy to have Law Offices of Christopher Coleman as a sponsor. The Law Offices of Christopher Coleman is located in Santa Barbara on 2019B State Street, specializing in personal injury and, more importantly, the Second Amendment and On the Firing Line with Matt and Joe. Give them a call at 805-682-3352, serving the Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, and San Luis Obispo areas for over 25 years.
On the air with the Midnight Mystic is one of our regular callers, truck driver Charlie.
Well, I just seen another one, Midnight Mystic.
Another Griffin, Charlie?
I'm telling you, they're all over the Central Coast now.
How long have you been on the road now, Charlie?
2, 5, 8 weeks, I don't know.
Perhaps you should park the truck and get some sleep, and maybe the Griffins will disappear.
Well, there it is again. I'm going after it.
What does it look like, Charlie?
Holy mackerel. It's got the body of a lion and the head of an eagle.
Is it flying, Charlie?
It's on the side of a white truck.
Is it a Griffin plumbing truck, Charlie?
Could be. I don't know. I'm pulling right up to it.
We seem to have lost contact with Charlie, but I'm sure he'll be okay because Griffins, just like the good folks at Griffin Plumbing, are here to protect and serve. In fact, if your plumbing devices are threatened in any way,
Call the Griffin.
Find us at callgriffinplumbing.com or call 934-1949.
You are on the firing line with Joe, Matt, and Connie.
We're good.
We're good. That's right. We're back on the firing line with Matt, Joe, and Kanani. What's happening, Kanani?
Nothing. Just
I know,
hanging out
just-
with you guys. This is a
just-
nice, cool, air-conditioned studio this week.
I
This
know.
is nice.
They finally realized how awesome we were and pumped some AC, some Freon in our
I know.
face.
Usually
Good
it's
stuff.
like 80 in here.
Yeah. So just know that we appreciate that, guys. All right. So,
So,
We're-
Kanani, are you part of
Yeah.
a gang? Were you in the military?
yeah.
No, I
on.
wasn't.
Have you been teaching tactics to gangbangers?
No, I
Well,
haven't.
I have.
But
shame
holy
on you.
cow, I know.
I have a brief story, but just to kind of back that up, one of my buddies was at Fort Hood in Texas. They would go out and party on the weekends, obviously, when on leave. And a couple guys in his unit were like full blown. I hesitate to say ex-gang members, but they had their street tattoos all over them, like totally. And they would go to the bars and the clubs and stuff. And anyway, they used to like throw up their signs and like get in these big old fights, and then they go back to base, and that was that. So it just proves that just because they're military and, most military are good, and that's what we assume, there's still those bad apples. That 7% still counts, and it just goes to show that it does happen.
Well, I think that throughout the last week and this week, I think we've made some good points. I think that it's now up to you, the public, to make your decision.
Yeah, that's good. And don't be scared to make your own decision. Think for yourself. Look a little deeper. It's not really that hard of a task when you think about it.
Let me ask you this though, but still, do we put on our uniforms and these are people on our side? And do we still do that, or do we really form an opinion by ourselves and really try to find out? Are we really doing that?
You're right. But here's the thing: if putting on a uniform, which is picking the side that you like, is a fad, and those who pick the good side, if that's a fad, that I'm okay with that. It's the ones who pick the bad side that I'm not okay with.
Yeah, but I think what I'm thinking here is that when I was younger, it seemed as though the inclination was to wait and see kind of a thing.
Right.
Now it's jump right
I
on
was
it
just
and
going to
go
comment
to
on that,
this
wait and
channel
see.
on your television that agrees with you, and then what I'm saying, instead of just
No.
I don't know. It
It's
just
more.
seems
It's
that-
not to me. It's like don't put on your uniform, but do clean your rifle.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
He's right. You just.
I mean,
But the thing
don't jump to it, but better be prepared for it to happen. That's all.
I agree. Being prepared for it to happen is great. And in being prepared, one of the things you should be is well informed and knowing the right
that's
side.
what
That's
it
part
is.
of it. That's
That's
all
what I'm
part of
saying.
the being prepared.
That's what I'm saying.
You can't legitimately fool yourself into saying you're prepared
Why
if you
look
don't
like
know your surroundings and what's going on.
And this is the answer. This is what. Hey, should we have a militarized police? This is the answer right here.
Yeah, this is
beyond picking sides and the fad and all this, being prepared, being able to do the job at hand, and being able to answer to both the negative and positive in a neutral or positive way is part of the solution here, and people have to realize that.
Yeah.
And you're right. In being prepared, now we need to move to the next step, which is to weed out the BS, right?
Right.
Okay. So in doing that, what we have to do is weed out the place where we have communication. If we didn't have the internet and we didn't have the news, we would have never known what was happening in Missouri. So
yeah,
Or you
but
would've
then
found
you
out
got to
pretty
start.
late in-
Then you got to start
late in
pedaling
the act.
backwards, though. Right?
Yeah.
well, if we're going to move forward, how do we fix this situation?
Oh, you mean you can't clean the slate, right? I mean, that's just too
I
brutal.
think it's
Who
what
would
we
want
got
to
to deal
clean
with
it?
it.
Because if you clean it, then how are you ever going to learn for the future? That's like they say we're doomed to repeat the past.
Right.
We're not.
We're not.
If we
If we
learn
learn
about
it-
the past.
I agree with you.
Amen,
dude.
huh? Truth
Yeah.
darts. Yeah.
But no, that's totally true. I mean, But I don't know. I guess they say it so I hope they say it so people will learn, so they don't end up doomed.
Give us some wisdom here, Kanani. What is this? How do we fix this? How do we move forward from this? And what did all this culminate to when it comes to military and our police departments?
Well, I think that because they're the first response to any type of emergency, that they should be prepared for all types of emergency, up until the point to where the military would step in, or the situation gets so serious that they're unable to handle it and would have to get additional help, wherever that level is. And I think that varies based on situation and based on the community and how the community views their police department. I mean, last week we talked a little bit about the civilians' response to having, let's say, a home invasion or something going on in their neighborhood, that they should be that initial call 911 / I have something to defend myself with. I can take responsibility for what's happening until the police get there, and then they will be able to carry on from where we're at. We can give them what had happened, and they're informed and can move forward as we step away from the situation.
Yeah. I mean, even, FEMA tells us to have the 3-day pack.
Yeah.
Be ready.
Yeah.
I was just talking about that a few hours ago with some friends, and how many people do you think have 3 days if the power went out right now, boom.
Right.
Maybe not even half.
And
half is like a huge wish, I think.
Yeah, I don't even think that these types of situations are any different from being prepared for a natural emergency. I mean, it just falls in line. It's exactly the same thing. I mean, I always like to talk about having firearms training as having a fire extinguisher in your house. You certainly don't plan on burning down your house and needing it, but when you do need it, you got it right
it's
there.
A good thing.
Exactly. And you should know how to use it.
When you need a fire extinguisher, does anything else going to do the trick?
No, nothing else will do the trick.
Fire extinguisher.
Exactly.
So having an armed, militarized police is like having a fire extinguisher in your house.
Yeah.
No, that's like having a full-on awesome fire department truck with like a 1,000,000-foot hose. But yeah,
we all want one.
But right. I mean, they're all different parts of the same type of disaster preparedness.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just under a different umbrella, but it's the same. What's going to be happening with the community is going to be almost parallel with each other.
Right, just within a larger scene.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
And then, the United States is an even larger scene.
And then the world and beyond.
Yeah. Everyone should be prepared to take their own responsibility to do what they need to do to protect themselves and their families.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, as that is being said, I'm thinking in my mind, escalation is what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the police patrolling the streets with MRAPs as their primary patrol vehicle until the bad guys are going around robbing banks,
setting up IEDs,
and setting up IEDs with their MRAPs.
What's funny though is I think that's exactly where that media was trying to inflame the public, is that this was a common situation, that the militarization of police is exactly that. They're patrolling the streets like that. And I don't think that's the case anywhere.
Well, no, I mean,
nowhere is that the case.
You don't.
Well, you might get lucky and see a raid going on, but they block the street off usually. But usually you don't even see that.
Right. And you don't see people taking all their guns out of their homes and going around shooting everybody. You see the occasional idiot, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Right. A random occurrence amongst a large...
Right. And even though it's on the rise, when you look at how many people, the actual numbers, I mean, the percentage is like
still very low.
It's not even there,
Yeah.
Oh, yikes.
Amazing.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that everybody jumped on what they believed. And then they kept looking for that.
It wasn't so much as a belief,
stuff.
They jumped on what they heard, I thought, and what was really hot at the moment.
Exactly, hot topic. I mean, you see it on everything. People want to talk about whatever. If they can get somebody to listen, they'll talk.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
That's it.
And
when I worked in a newsroom, believe me,
I bet.
It's a situation where you're going. Especially that was my first newsroom. I worked in two. And my first one was with a radio station I won't mention, but at any rate, you do sit there going, what? Why are we going that way?
That's probably what people do listening to us.
Money.
Well, not that. Isn't that a good story? Hey, if we went this way, can we get this? Can we say this? Can we do this?
Little twists and turns, little snakes, huh?
You know, you just kind of go,
You know,
well, I don't want to
snakes in
say
the
that.
grass.
Well, I'm sports anyway. I don't have to do that, right?
You know, I when I grew up, I thought news was supposed to be this. If something's happening, it's being reported that this is exactly what's happening. And if there was a story,
Walter Cronkite.
yeah, if there was an op-ed story or something like that, it was a fair and balanced, which means it didn't matter what your opinion was, but what you got out was, okay, this is what these people think, and these are what these people think.
It was objective.
Here's all the information from both sides. Now you get to decide what to think.
Now figure it out.
But I think it was clear that those were op-eds. Now everything is
Right.
op-ed, and we call it
Exactly.
the news.
But the op-ed is biased now.
But that's op-ed.
Yeah, but that's it. That's right.
It's
Op-ed
your own
should be
bias.
It burns.
That's
It's
the
your
way
own
they are.
opinion.
I mean, I don't want to write an op-ed the way you think. I want to write an op-ed the way I think. Or
Exactly.
I want to give my
But
opinion.
should it be about what you think, or should it be about both sides of the situation?
It shouldn't
That's
even
what
be about
that's
what you
op-ed
think.
Means. It means I'm giving my opinion.
So there's two
Okay.
types of news. There's that factual news that you're talking about that all news should be, and I agree. And then there's that op-ed that's just someone's opinion. Like, I think it's wrong that such and such is happening, and this is why, and here's some news here,
maybe
and
we
here's
need
some
to
news
get the
here.
op-eds to shut the heck up.
Exactly.
And
Well, yeah, they're the ones
Well-
that make it worse usually too, because they don't
Yeah.
know. It's purely speculation. They're talking. I mean, and that happens in everything from a car
Right.
accident or a car chase to
Wait,
like a
you're
hostage.
op-ed.
To
Yeah,
exactly.
But we don't
Yes.
feign to be
we are,
the
but
news.
we're not trying to steer somebody into the
Exactly.
corral. You
Yeah.
know, we're not trying to put a leash on their neck for it. We just hope that they listen and hopefully listen to us and go out and learn some more.
Because this
That's true.
basically is not being heard. When I
Oh, we're
love
being
it. I
heard.
love people. No, I mean we are. What we are saying is not being heard.
just
I
saying.
love it. Well, like yesterday, I was at a location and somebody was talking. And they said, "Well, you do radio tomorrow?" I go, "Yeah, I do radio." And they said, "What kind of show do you?" The person they were talking to said, "What kind of show do you do?" I couldn't wait.
I know, huh?
I just couldn't wait. I
Awesome.
go, "Oh, we do a gun show." You should have seen the idea. I started bulging out.
Oh yeah, that's how it is when I go
What?
down to Santa Barbara.
I just love it to say it though. I do. I just love it.
That's I mean, that's
unbelievable.
And that's how it's common for most people that don't know about it and aren't around firearms. That's kind of how they, they get that like wide-eyed look because over the past couple years, it has become such a hot topic. Pretty much since Sandy Hook. I mean, it was before too, but Sandy Hook really kicked the ball off.
Yeah.
You know?
It reminded
And-
everybody again of the
that's when you
seriousness.
started hearing more of the public safety and gun violence and all those words that again try and steer people into this, slowly corralling them more left and more left, and then boom, you got them. All of a sudden, everybody's thinking gun violence, this, that, and the other thing. Oh, why do they need 10 rounds? Oh, what's the big deal? Let's just put 5 rounds. Oh, they shouldn't hunt with lead. Where does it stop?
It doesn't stop. It's a rolling snowball. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
That's why you got to have the opposition.
And when it
have to
finally
have
hits, it covers the whole dang town.
Yeah, and,
I'm sorry, country.
Does the whole fan, right?
Yeah.
And if there's no opposition, that means it's your turn to stand up and oppose.
Stand up, oppose?
Yeah. If you see something and it needs opposition and there is none,
that reminds
stand
me
up and oppose.
of the people that say, I didn't vote for that, but yet they voted.
But yet they check the dang box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't vote for that. Yeah, Leland Yee got two.
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh wait, I did vote for him.
283,000 votes.
We need to get that document. That's gonna take a long time to visit that many houses. But that's a lot of nice slaps, man. Little, slaps.
The slap brigade.
We should just have them walk by a machine, all of us.
You're like, oh yeah, so Joe Schmo, yeah, you voted for Leland Yee.
Wow.
Oh, saw it later, dude.
Let's see,
They
that
probably
would be
all live
battery.
next door to each other.
Premeditated.
No, we could sell them a used car.
Yeah.
They would buy anything.
Yeah. Well,
Swamplands?
all right. This is malicious. We need to stop. Okay, so we're kind of all in agreement with the militarization thing, but militarization is kind of a strong word. Is that what we're agreeing on?
I don't think it's a strong word at all.
Well,
I think that it's a made-up word.
Well, it's
That's
made.
what I mean. A strong word being that it's being twisted. But I agree
It's being
with that.
used improperly, like assault weapons are being used.
Amen.
Yeah.
It's the same inflammatory language that they use to get
Take
everybody
an
all hot and bothered
anti-inflammatory.
about it.
Don't be worried about it.
Yeah.
It got us.
Oh, heck yeah.
Ooh,
Okay.
hook,
When
line,
we
and
first
sinker.
started this, all of you,
All of us.
what did you think? Has any of this changed any of your mindset, or have you been on the same track all the way through?
We've seen a lot of different stuff come through this place, dude.
No, I mean just this topic.
On this topic over everything
of the militarization.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying. I think I've been pretty firm. I do kind of. I was shaky at first because I had to look into it for myself. Once I did, now I realize that it's probably, I'm good with it.
And that's exactly right. I was going to say, I think I still have the same opinion, but I made a point of finding opposition and positives to get more information about
because
whether
you're
or not
a smart person with a
right.
brain in your head.
Thank you.
Well, I'm just saying, people, that's all it takes.
No, that's all it takes.
Come on.
That is. You're in the conversation. You heard what the topic is. Go find out more information.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever.
And you'll probably feel pretty good for doing it because you accomplished something that you probably wouldn't have done.
And then when you have conversations again, you can be like, nope, I looked up such and such an article, and that's what it says, and I agree with it.
Boom.
Awesome.
Done.
Truth darts here on the firing line. Awesome.
Well, man.
Well, thank you guys for listening. We will catch you next Saturday, same bat time, same bat place.
And happy Labor Day.
Yeah, happy Labor Day. Don't do
happy,
too much
happy
labor.
Don't do anything.